Please join me in welcoming to the stage the Chairman of the Dutchess County Legislature, Rob Rolison.
I was asked about 2 weeks ago to give some opening remarks and to introduce our county executive, Marc Molinaro. Also, tonight, who was going to join me in doing that but couldn't because she actually got injured just the other day, but she's okay, is the Town of Hyde Park Supervisor Aileen Rohr. And she would have said, I know she would have said, welcome to Hyde Park, welcome to historic Hyde Park. There was so much to offer in Hyde Park, just like there is in Dutchess County. And I also wanted to recognize tonight one of our great partners from across the river, a person that Marc obviously collaborates quite often with, and that is County Executive Steve Newhouse from Orange County. Thank you. When Marc Molinaro took office and became Dutchess County's 7th county executive, he set out on what he knew was going to be a difficult journey, but one that we would embark on together. And along this journey, with each step and each new day, we are transforming county government together by trusting in our abilities, driven by commitment and courage. We have raised expectations while expanding and encouraging dialogue. Now, I've had the honor to join the county executive for Dutchess Dialogues, town hall forums throughout the county to meet and talk with residents and business owners and get feedback from those who we serve. And that feedback is at the core of what we strive to accomplish: make Dutchess County a better place for all. And we are moving Dutchess forward together, make no mistake. Collaboration, partnership, these are the words that come to mind. And when I think of our county government, hard at work, at the heart of our county government, we have our great county employees. And they carry out the essential services and programs for our county residents, and they do a great job. And please join me in a round of applause for our county employees. I want to thank my fellow members of the Dutchess County Legislature. Many are here tonight, and they are a tremendous group of dedicated public servants, and individuals I call friends. And we know it takes a strong partnership, and by working together with the county executive, we are raising standards and improving performance to make county government work for the people it serves. And today, we can be proud of those successes and look forward to meeting the challenges that lie ahead. Now, it is through trust in our continued partnership that we work to provide even more efficient and effective county government. Now, I'm confident, I am very confident, that with County Executive Molinaro at the helm, we will be successful. His plan transcends generations and administrations to come. We will continue to move Dutchess forward together. It is now my great privilege to introduce to you my friend and partner in our county government, our county executive, Marcus J. Molinaro.
Thank you very much. You got to go. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedules to be with us tonight. I want you to know, and you're all going to chuckle just a little bit, that when we set out to develop the 2015 State of the County Address, my goal was to get this speech down to 30 minutes or less. I failed. I failed miserably, but you know, the only thing I can say is that you couldn't have asked for a better location than the Culinary Institute of America. Would you join me in thanking the men and women who work here, who've helped us put together this great event? The seats are comfortable, so relax. If you doze off, it'll be okay. There'll be a few moments where I speak loudly and you'll wake up. Is Carolyn Morris here? Carolyn Morris from the legislature. I promised I'd give her a shout out. She is here. Todd Tangredi is here. Todd, are we okay? Okay, good. I know that you know that Aileen Rohr can't be here. Why don't we give her, she's watching from home online. Why don't we give her a nice round of applause? She wanted very much to be here, and I'm sorry she couldn't join us. I'm thankful to the members of the county legislature and, of course, my friend, Chairman Rob Rollison. Let's get started. Very simply, when I came into office in 2012, this county was facing significant fiscal and financial challenges. As you know, we were confronted with a $40 million budget gap with virtually no fund balance, reserve account, to manage in case of emergency. We were staring at significant fiscal concern. In fact, our county government, over the course of the last 7 or 8 years, again, starting in 2012, over the course of the 8 years prior, during this great recession, not only was the burden barreling down on individuals, but certainly county government as well. In that time period, Dutchess County saw a 60% increase in social service caseload and a 70% increase in mental health caseload. Additionally, at the same time, this great economic recession, we saw on average $1.3 billion in annual assessed valuation loss. What that means is over the course of 7 years, we lost nearly 23% of the county's assessed valuation. The pie was shrinking and the demand for services continue to grow. And there's no question that burden has been placed on us and on so many others. But there is little question for us that we are, in fact, moving this county forward. We took on both big challenges, like the consolidation of county government, a voluntary workforce reduction incentive, and the small things. The county executive, since the establishment of the county charter, was required to sign 5 original contracts for every contract we enter into in county government. Any idea how many contracts we enter into? 1,200 a year. We had to sign 5 originals. Does anybody know why? No, it's actually a question, because everywhere I go I keep asking and no one has an answer for me. Because that's the way we always did it. So we asked, how about we sign 2 original copies? Now that may sound earth-shattering, but we asked the question, why do we do it that way? So now we signed 2 original contracts. My wrist is very, very grateful, but we also saved a little bit of money. So the big decisions and the small decisions, all in an effort to shrink the size, scale, and scope of county government, to transform county government, to ensure that our services were more effective and that we were a smaller and smarter government. And I think that we're moving this county forward pretty successfully. We're starting to see some modest indicators of both our own economic recovery, but benefit to taxpayers, residents, and employees of Dutchess County. In 2012, our unemployment rate was just over 8%. Today, 2015, 4.6%. When I came into office, this county, its bond rating was downgraded with a negative outlook. The very underpinnings of our fiscal security being questioned. Last year, Standard & Poor's returned our very high bond rating. In fact, we saw a bond rating upgrade, positive outlook, with Standard & Poor's suggesting for all of us that Dutchess County among the best financially managed counties in the state of New York, reestablishing the county's fiscal security, and that for us is so very, very important. Now, additionally, we took on some long-standing challenges. The Resource Recovery Agency, the agency responsible for managing solid waste, I have to tell you, I ran for county executive talking about economic recovery, private job growth, helping our community. I spent a lot of time working on garbage and mental health. In the case of the Resource Recovery Agency, since 1995, this county and you as taxpayers have subsidized this agency, meaning it wasn't self-sufficient. When I came into office in 2012, that subsidy was nearly $4 million of your money. Today, 2015, the 2015 budget, for the first time in many, many years, well, since 1995, does not include any taxpayer subsidy, and the business of running solid waste management is now self-sufficient. That is an amazing recovery, and it's the kind of attention we're giving to And it's the kind of attention we're giving to those long-standing challenges. In the case of resource recovery, running it like a business. And I want to extend our thanks not only to the members of the Resource Recovery Agency Board who have taken our guidance, but more importantly asserted their own business sense and leadership, but also through a partnership with Royal Karting, we were able to achieve this success. And I want to thank and acknowledge the Panici family. In particular, I think Jim and Evelyn Constantino, if you're here, on behalf of this county, thanks for your partnership with us. Now, when I came into office, I suggested that we would spend the 4 years we had together answering two important questions. Who are we as a people, and how do we hope to live? At the same time, we established decision-making principles, core principles meant to depoliticize our decision-making, take the politics aside and put people first. We also focused on transparency. I spent 12 years as a village mayor, and to the mayors and supervisors who are here, you have my utmost respect. Because it's local government that interacts directly with the people, and as a village mayor, there's nothing more personal. So making government open and more transparent, ensuring that we work together in a collaborative way through partnership was all the core of what we've done together in the last 4 years, and we are achieving great success. At the same time, we've built collaborative relationships with those others who serve, that we serve with in office, all with the goal of making government smaller, smarter, and more effective. And I want to extend my thanks to those who serve in elected office countywide with me. To Sheriff Butch Anderson, I haven't met a kinder public servant than him. But to Sheriff Butch Anderson, my friend, District Attorney Bill Grady, County Clerk Brad Kendall, our County Comptroller Jim Coughlin, and members of the judiciary throughout Dutchess County, I extend on behalf of the county government our thanks to all of you, and I appreciate your service. I also want to thank the county legislature. Having served in the legislature for 6 years, have a deep respect for the work that you do and for the relationship that we have. But more importantly, I have a deep appreciation for your role in your districts. You are to hold us, the administration, accountable. You're to ensure that you represent the interests of the people who elected you. And we've crafted a good relationship, one that I have to tell you, I don't really look across the state of New York and see much example of this. Our dialogue, our debate, our discourse is not an embarrassment to this community. It doesn't make front-page headlines for being disrespectful. We've crafted a relationship that has us working together to confront very serious challenges, long-standing concerns, and you have been wonderful partners, and for that, I am grateful. But I also want to extend my thanks to someone who has been a tremendous partner and a leader in his own right. I can say this quite candidly. No one will know the sacrifice that Rob Rollison has made on behalf of county government better than I. Together, we have had to make positive and some negative, popular and some not so popular decisions. But he has led the county legislature with dignity, with professionalism, and with a care and concern for all of the people of Dutchess County. Would you join me in thanking Chairman Rob Rollison? And the decisions that we have been making over these years, over these last 4 years, are starting to show the fruits of their labor, if you will. We're starting to see Dutchess County's resurgence, our comeback, and we are, in fact, moving this county forward. The 2015 budget that we presented late last year and was adopted by the legislature really does provide us a good fiscal foundation, if you will. The 2015 budget includes the largest property tax levy cut in 14 years. At the same time, we have the smallest workforce in 32 years, dedicated county employees. The first time in a decade, we have been able to sustain and maintain core county services without having to dismantle county government because of the economic recession. And despite the fact that I could figure out a better way to keep your tax money in your pockets than Albany has come up with, because of our efforts to consolidate county government, to work with our municipal leaders to share services and improve the way in which we do business, Dutchess County property taxpayers, thanks to our effort, qualify this fall for a rebate check as a refund for the money that you've been sending to Albany because of the work that we've done. And additionally, the 2015 budget includes targeted investment in business attraction, all with the focus on enhancing infrastructure and improving infrastructure in our communities, promoting Dutchess County's great assets through tourism, and the development and enhancement of agricultural businesses. We are starting to rebound, and we are starting to see growth, and for that, we are exceptionally, exceptionally grateful. Now, we do all of this. We do all of this in the context of that. Can you do that again? No. All in the context of that. This is important. We have begun to rebound. We have begun to reestablish our financial security. We have provided much-needed tax relief. And at the same time, we are invested in growing the economy. But we do it in the context of a 70-30 world. 70% of your budget, 70% of your tax dollars, and 70 cents of every dollar you give to Dutchess County, and I know you don't give it willingly, but 70 cents on the dollar goes to pay for somebody else's programs. Albany and Washington continue to shift the burden onto us. And thankfully, there are some enlightened leaders, some of whom are here, and I will acknowledge them later this evening, who understand that this has got to change. If Albany and Washington think their programs are so important, instead of charging you and me $300 million a year in mandated spending, they ought to pay for their programs themselves and not put the burden on you taxpayers. Now, additionally, at the same time, I think Albany can also take a lesson, and Washington can take a lesson from us as well. It's about time that Albany repeals in its entirety the MTA payroll tax. It is a burden on our businesses, and it can't continue. And the federal government ought to really take stock of the decisions it's been making and repeal the FERC decision, which arbitrarily raises our energy costs with absolutely no direct benefit to Dutchess County or the Hudson River Valley, and those things have to stop. As a county and as a community, we are, in fact, moving forward. And we are very happy that we are confronting the challenges that face us. We're beginning to solve long-standing problems. And at the same time, we recognize that the state of our county is always evolving. It is always changing, and it is always moving forward. But the question for us is not whether we turn left or right. In an odd number of years, it seems that we always want to talk about turning left or right. But the truth is, the question is whether we will continue moving forward. And I believe that by bringing people together, we can accomplish that. We don't back down as a community. We don't let up. We continue to push forward, confronting the challenges of the day and providing solutions for taxpayers and residents who call this community home. Tonight, I want to discuss three basic topic areas. You'll know what they are because they start with a frame that looks kind of like this. We'll talk in great detail about our economic development efforts and our focus on growing the economy and private sector jobs, our shared effort to improve our quality of life and the character of our community, and the focus on making government smaller, smarter, and more effective. And there is no more greater priority for government than the provision of public safety. And in all of its facets and in all that we do, we have a dedicated and tireless workforce. Whether it is in public safety, snow removal, you may have noticed that we have a few of those things to do these days, road repair, the delivery of mental health services or social services, Dutchess County is blessed with a tireless workforce. And just as the chairman offered just a few moments ago, I'd ask you in joining me in a round of applause and thanks to Dutchess County's dynamic workforce who has been asked to sacrifice a lot over these years, and I am exceptionally grateful to all of them. Ladies and gentlemen, our workforce. We have a great working relationship with leadership of each of the collective bargaining units, and I'm grateful to those of you who are here today representing them. And quite frankly, I look forward to many, many years of cooperative relationships moving forward because, quite frankly, again, our workforce and those who work for county government have been asked to do a lot more with a lot less. And they are led by a great group of individuals who serve as department heads, commissioners, and leadership throughout county government. And I'd ask you to extend our thanks, if you would, to Dutchess County's commissioners, our department heads, those who lead each of our county divisions and departments. To all of you, I say thank you. You've been great partners over these last 4 years. One of our commissioners announced in just a few short weeks he will conclude a 40-year term of office. He has served the Department of Social Services, now the Department of Community and Family Services, for 40 years. And Commissioner Bob Allers has served us for nearly 20 years as commissioner of this department. Through good times and bad, Bob has been a steady hand and a dynamic and reliable leader. Ladies and gentlemen, I think, Bob, if you wouldn't mind, Bob, stand up. You deserve a round of applause. Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. And we are grateful. Now, not only have we been focused on transforming county government, but we've attempted to partner with municipalities to change the way in which we deliver services really at all levels. And I want to acknowledge this. Late last year, in October of last year, over 100 county, local, and state officials came together to discuss shared services and consolidation in our Shared Services Summit. And this is a challenge, I think, for every layer of government. There's just no question. If you had it all to do over again, no one would create government and the government structure that we have in New York State if we could start all over again. There's little question that there are layers, duplicative layers, redundancies that all need to be confronted. And through sharing and consolidation, we think that we can not only enhance the way in which we do business, improve efficiency, and make government more effective, but we can ensure that government remains local. And I would suggest to those who hold office at perhaps the higher levels, perhaps at the state or federal level, that it's really not a good policy to say to local officials, you know, we think very highly of you, but would you mind dissolving yourselves? We think very highly of you. We want to partner with you. Would you mind getting out of our way? We think in Dutchess County that the right way to craft the right message and to ensure that you as taxpayers get the very best in service delivery is through collaboration and partnership. And our Shared Services and Government Consolidation Grant Program is meant really to embrace that. This concept that government is best when it's closest to the people. That by incentivizing citizens to engage in the way in which we govern, to change the way we govern, that we can empower them and ensure that government is accountable. And the further away you get from Poughkeepsie, the further away you get from Tivoli, the further away you get from Paulding, the less likely you are to be able to access and hold government accountable. So our Government Consolidation Grant Program has been very successful. We establish shared priorities, establish measurable outcomes, and continue to assist municipalities in bringing about projects for consolidation. Since the program was created in 2013, 25 municipalities and 6 other taxing jurisdictions received funding for a whole host of programs and projects meant to cut the total cost of government and provide taxpayer savings. Now, as I mentioned a few moments ago, I could think of a better way for Albany to provide tax relief, and that would start with not taking your money to begin with. But they've created this program where if we, at the local level, create government efficiency plans, you and I will get a property tax credit or rebate. So Dutchess County, in partnership with our municipalities, is suggesting that in order to ensure that Dutchess County taxpayers have the highest probability of receiving those rebate checks, that we, the county government, would like to lead the effort in the development of a government efficiency plan. Now, we're going to be working with the Supervisors and Mayors Association, each of the towns, villages, and cities, to craft this plan and to organize it. And I will tell you this, the state says that we have to identify 1% in tax levy savings, 1% in savings, okay? Yes, we could do that through some sort of average, but we're asking municipalities that if you're going to participate with us, everybody has to come to the table with enough savings to generate 1% relief. We think that that's appropriate. And again, the concept here is to improve efficiency, to eliminate redundancies, irrespective of whose decal is on the side of a truck. I do, at this point also, though, want to extend my thanks to the Supervisors and Mayors Association, its leadership, and every mayor and supervisor, town board member, city council member, village trustee who engages in public service. And would you join me in acknowledging and recognizing the President of the Supervisors and Mayors Association, Supervisor Barbara Gutzler from the town of Wappinger. Thank you, Barbara. We are going to continue to work together to provide the very best for our taxpayers. Now, as I mentioned, there is no there's no greater priority of government, responsibility of government, than the provision of public safety. And Dutchess County has consistently led the way. In fact, I got ahead of myself, didn't I? In fact, we're going to start here. With infrastructure investment. That's probably a better place to start. I have been talking about this since the delivery of the county budget a year ago, and that is that there's no question that throughout the Northeast, really, and perhaps even nationally, you know, there isn't the greatest investment in public infrastructure. Why? Because we don't see it, right? And you don't necessarily pay attention to the water pipes until they break. The other, though, is that infrastructure is the one tool we have to grow the economy, to direct growth. because if we can provide water, sewer, and safe infrastructure, we can make it easier and less expensive for businesses to grow and for village and city and hamlet centers to prosper. And Dutchess County is committed to a very strategic effort to improve our infrastructure. And for that, we will begin this year. Now, we're responsible for managing and maintaining 23 miles of rail trail. I hope you enjoy them. Very, very proud we were able to complete the Dutchess Rail Trail connection to the walkway over the Hudson, and we have some news on the Harlem Valley Rail Trail in just a moment. 153 bridges, 186 culverts, and over 395 miles of county roadway within our responsibility. Now, in 2015, we've committed with the county legislature to invest $26 million in infrastructure investment. This is a combination of both local, state, and federal assistance. And in just a few weeks, we'll be presenting our capital plan as it relates to infrastructure development to the county legislature. Our goal will be to obviously replace deficient bridges, and there are a number of those that I think you'll see some work being done on, repave or resurface county roadways, complete the design of the Harlem Valley Rail Trail connection, much, much needed in Eastern Dutchess, but we'll complete the design of the Harlem Valley Rail Trail. And I will ask the county legislature to approve the reconstruction of Crum Elbow Road, County Route 41 in the town of Hyde Park, which I know is exceptionally special to the Coppola family. And I think that Lou and Lisa Coppola may be here with us. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind joining me in a show of appreciation and thanks to Lou and Lisa for their strength and their courage and their compassion. Now, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, there is no greater priority of government than the provision of public safety. And in so many ways, Dutchess County continues to lead. In fact, we have been asked on a number of occasions to provide leadership at the state level. But the truth of the matter is emergencies come at any time and in any form. And it is up to us to ensure that we are prepared, that we plan appropriately, and that we respond effectively. And in 2015, we're committed to expanding our efforts to prepare, plan, and respond. In particular, strengthening our citizen preparedness program to empower and enhance the ability of average citizens, all of us as residents, to be able to react and respond appropriately. This year, we will begin an aggressive educational program for municipal officials, town supervisors, village mayors, city mayors, local government officials. We will expand training opportunities for our first responders, and with some specialty that I'll be discussing later this evening. And to those of you as first responders, in particular in fire and rescue, you know that we have a particular need, and we're focused this year on improving our countywide radio communications system. All of that critical for those who serve and protect us. And Dutchess County is, in fact, blessed to have so many. Last year, the Dutchess County Department of Emergency Response coordinated nearly 7,500 individual training sessions here in the community. And, of course, we are blessed to have over 2,600 emergency responders countywide, both career and volunteer. And particularly at both the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office and Department of Emergency Response, we employ 44 separate public safety dispatchers that help to handle in 2014 over 306,000 calls, dispatching over 165,000 calls individually. It is a tough job. We have an integrated response, and this county is grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we're joined by a number of representatives from the fire and EMS community. I'd ask for those of you here tonight who serve as either career or volunteer members of fire and rescue to please stand and be recognized. You are our security. Without you, this county cannot respond, and we are grateful. We're also joined this evening by a number of representatives from local law enforcement, including the great staff of the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office and Corrections Division. I would offer to you, and I spoke earlier today to the Police Chiefs Association, I would offer to you that it's never been more complicated for law enforcement, with great challenges on each individual. And sometimes we forget that these men and women go out to calls not knowing whether or not they will return home at night. Would you join me in acknowledging and thanking the men and women of law enforcement, in particular those men and women at the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office and our local law enforcement agencies, and I think a number of you are here. Please stand to be recognized. You too deserve our appreciation and recognition. And for us in Dutchess, that includes the Sheriff's Office, road patrols, the Detective Division, the Civil Division, and the men and women who serve in the Corrections Division as well, and they all deserve our acknowledgement. I'm grateful to the Sheriff and to Under Sheriff Imperati for their partnership and leadership. Thank you. Now, as I mentioned, we have a great component of emergency response, our public safety dispatchers, and I've asked them to join us, the ones who aren't on the phone this evening. But when you dial 911, this is a critical responsibility. And I don't know if you know this, but Albany considers 911 service optional. It is not a mandated service. It is an optional service. But here in this county, you don't wait. You have an immediate response when you dial 911, and whether it's at the Sheriff's Office or the Department of Emergency Response, our men and women try so very hard to ensure that we respond effectively. And believe me, you never quite know what the call is going to be. Those men and women who serve in dispatch or 911 dispatchers or Sheriff's Office dispatchers, I know you're here this evening. Please stand to be recognized. You deserve that recognition as well. We are grateful for your service. We are thankful for the work that you do, and you don't often get the recognition you deserve. And calls can come in from really anywhere with any reason or purpose, and I'd like to share one with you.
911, operator 901, where's the emergency?
127 Brynmere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushroom.
You know you've called 911. This is an emergency line.
Do you know how long it'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
And you're unable to talk because...
Right.
Is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you then. Thank you.
That wasn't a call to Dutchess County's 911 service, but it could have been. Domestic violence affects everyone. Men, women, of any age, of any background, of any class, social standing, every income. It affects everyone. And as a community, we have an obligation, a responsibility to work together to attack and confront what is the challenge and the problem of domestic violence in all of its forms. Dutchess County has played a leadership role in responding effectively. We have an integrated response. But this year, we seek to expand our focus. There are national statistics that are absolutely alarming. 1 in 5 college women are victims of sexual assault. 1 in 16 college men, victims themselves. It's estimated that 80% of college campus rapes go unreported. It is time as a society we end the violence and that we confront this challenge together collectively. As a community, it is our goal, and as a county, we will this year expand our SART, Sexual Assault Response Team, countywide. The focus will be a coordinated effort to assist victims of domestic violence, to provide resources to them and family members to be of aid and assistance, to educate communities so that we are all on watch and can respond effectively. And yes, this year we wish to expand the SART to become active on college campuses. It is critical we confront this issue together, and I am exceptionally grateful to Family Services and its leadership led by Brian Doyle. Brian, I know you're here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a great working relationship with Family Services and other not-for-profits like Grace Smith House and others to respond collectively. But this year, our expansion of the SART effort and focus and work on college campus is critical. Brian, thank you, and thank your staff for the partnership and the relationship. That's just one component of our community's quality of life. And together, we have to work more collaboratively to enhance the quality of life for all those who call Dutchess County home. One of the ways that we have done that is through the creation of our agency partnership grant program. Kind of like our municipal shared services grant program, you know that county government can't be all things to all people, and in order to address some of the most important priorities facing citizens, we partner with not-for-profit agencies. Several years ago, we launched our agency partnership grant program, again, so we can take the politics out of the decision-making, and through measurable outcomes with shared goals, we can direct county aid, your money, to agencies to provide specific services. Now, in 2015, we will expand our focus to a few areas of significance. Poverty and homelessness, certainly of concern to all of us. Child abuse and child exploitation. Bullying in all of its forms. Drug abuse and the drug addiction epidemic that is facing this county and our nation. And the 2015-16 grant process is already underway, with 39 applicants representing 25 separate agencies requesting over $1.5 million in assistance. Through a very focused and careful effort, we seek, through a competitive grant process, to ensure that we build relationships with our not-for-profit partners. We celebrate the great work of generous community volunteers, but we ensure that every dollar we spend has a determined outcome and a tool to measure our success. I'd like you to join me in acknowledging and thanking those men and women who serve in our not-for-profit community. Many of you are here. Many of you serve on boards or staff. You do wonderful work in this community, and without you, we would not be able to celebrate the shared quality of life we have. Thank you. It occurred to me only very recently that I needed to think differently. When I was a little bit younger, I have to admit that I didn't necessarily know how to interact with those with special needs. And in fact, I think I could say as a child, as a teenager, interacting with people with developmental disabilities or disabilities in general was a bit discomforting to me. And it wasn't my intention, but I created obstacles, right, to creating relationships. Well, the same is true for my daughter, Abigail. She is an amazing young lady who only knows the challenges of her life because we tell her. And what a mistake that is. What do I mean by that? These kids that we all have that affect every one of us, these special needs kids, and as they grow older, teenagers, college students, and our friends and neighbors, these folks, these individuals with developmental and other forms of disabilities, they only know that they have challenges because in the goodness of our hearts, we tell them. We tell them that we're going to help you. But the truth of the matter is, if we think differently, if we act differently, we can empower them to achieve what they hope to achieve in life. So we are engaged as a community in ensuring that we think differently. Why? Because they deserve respect. They deserve respect. And in the case of my daughter, I can only tell you that I did everything I could out of the love and care that a father has for her daughter, but I know that I was holding her back because she only knew that she could or couldn't do something because Daddy was going to do it for her. What a mistake. Because what I have found since seeing her empowered is an amazing child who will try anything. And she and the countless kids like her in Dutchess County deserve and expect that we think differently, and we will. So together we think we have to break down the barriers. We have to tear down obstacles. We have to make sure that our government, our community, in every way is accessible. And these young people, they don't need us telling them what they can't do, and they don't need government telling them that they're common. They're exceptional, and they deserve incentive. They deserve to be held up, and they deserve to be empowered. So by thinking differently, county government will continue a partnership that we've established. I'm very happy to say that together we have been able to work with the town of Wappinger toward the completion of the Wappinger Challenger Field, a totally accessible baseball field in the town. We are working collaboratively with the folks who are organizing in the town of East Fishkill, Julie's Jungle, a 14,000 square foot handicapped accessible playground. One of the joys of being county executive, from time to time, and it is a competitive process, but from time to time, we actually get to tell the federal government what we want to accomplish. So we've been able to direct federal aid to these projects, and that for us is important. Now, in the case of the Challenger Field in the town of Wappinger, that began in the previous administration, and I'm grateful that we've been able to finish it together. Not only do we seek to create opportunities for kids with special needs to play and to access those facilities, but also to expand our interaction, to enhance the way in which we communicate with one another. On August 18th, we will hold our Special Needs Picnic, an opportunity for families to come together with service providers, to learn about the services available, to talk and interact with one another. And I'm proud to say that a number of you in this audience who have no affiliation with the special needs community have shown up, have sponsored. A number of you have sponsored, and we're grateful for that. And you get to interact with these special families and these kids, and that's a great opportunity for us to learn from one another. This fall, we will host an autism-friendly movie. And this is one of those opportunities where the lights go up a little bit, the sound goes down a little bit, and if you're a parent of a child on the autism spectrum, you get free reign of the place. And believe me, just having that is a great opportunity. Beyond that, we're going to expand our partnership to support families, and by partnering with the Anderson Center for Autism, we will provide training opportunities through their Autism Supportive Environment Service to provide training opportunities to local businesses so that individuals, business owners and their employees understand and are prepared to interact with those living on the autism spectrum. And we will expand our first responder awareness training. We will not only expand the training that dispatchers receive in the area of responding to those with special needs, but also first responders, ensuring that local career and volunteer first responders know how to react, how to respond in case of emergencies to kids and individuals living with special needs. Now, as I said, you know, it's nice that we get to celebrate some of these things, but the truth of the matter is no elected official, no county executive is deserving of any special credit. It's really the families and the individuals who have committed themselves to making our community more inclusive that deserve recognition. And at this point, I do want to acknowledge, however, and I know that they're not looking for it, but I want to acknowledge Supervisor Gutzler and the Town of Wappinger Town Board for your commitment to finalizing the Challenger Field. We're grateful for that. And to Supervisor John Hickman and the East Fishkill Town Board, thank you for bringing that project to us so that we can ensure funding for Julie's Jungle. But more importantly, and I think you'll agree, more importantly tonight, would you join me? Let me acknowledge, and then if you would, join me in a round of applause for these special people. Ralph Holt, who of course has led the Wappinger Recreation Committee for a number of years, Bettina Brichetti, John Donovan, Rob Wilson, the Keating family, Claire Moran, and Janet McHugh, all of whom have made it possible for us to celebrate their kids, our kids, and to bring the Wappinger Challenger Field and Julie's Jungle to fruition. Thank you for what you do, and God bless you. This goes unsaid. As the former youngest mayor in America, everybody's aging. And as a community, that's Kieran Lawler. He's the one in the middle with no hair. He said I could say that. That's former Congressman Ben Gilman at Castle Point, a serviceman, and certainly a great community leader. But our community as a whole continues to age without question. That's obvious. But at the same time, there are challenges placed on individuals who are aging in place. So Dutchess County will continue to expand our help and support for seniors and veterans. This year, Pleasant Valley and East Fishkill will be happy to know that we're adding 2 senior picnics to a very popular senior picnic program, one in East Fishkill and one in the town of Pleasant Valley. Additionally, we'll be partnering and growing our partnership with the District Attorney Bill Grady, as we combat incidents of elder abuse countywide. The Office for the Aging will continue to expand its programming, including something called Matter of Balance, a personal safety program, and we'll also continue efforts to do greater outreach into the veterans community, which is important. You know, I think Congressman Gilman would allow me to say that not every veteran looks like him. And what I mean by that is that there are so many returning home today from service who have different and new challenges. So the Veterans Division, led by Nelson Rivera, is trying its very best to reach out to all of the veterans community And this year, we will expand and continue our partnership with the Dutchess County Regional Chamber of Commerce, who, in partnership with Hudson River Housing, has launched Hire a Vet, or Hire a Hero, where we attempt and they attempt to connect veterans seeking job opportunities with employers looking for employees. This is a critical effort, in particular for those veterans returning from service. Would you join me in acknowledging and thanking the Dutchess County Regional Chamber of Commerce and its new president, who is deserving of his own round of applause. This is not a Charlie North goodbye tour. This is a Frank Costella hello and welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Frank and the Chamber. And it goes without question and without saying that our county and our nation is truly blessed because of the selfless sacrifice of so many. Ladies and gentlemen, in this room tonight are a number of veterans of service. I would ask all of you who have served this country in one fashion or another, please stand and be recognized. We are exceptionally grateful to all of you. I think you all recognize that drug addiction, in particular, what we have been confronting over these last several years as a community and as a nation, has risen to the level of epidemic status. We are losing too many lives to drug addiction, to overdose, and sadly to suicide. And as a community, we have an obligation to respond. There is a need to increase our efforts and to ensure that families have support, that individuals have the services they need to end an addiction, and quite candidly, that we have strict enforcement of law. So together, as a county, we will expand our efforts, again, in partnership with the District Attorney and the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office and local law enforcement. We do this through our Drug Task Force and local law enforcement. As you know, I hope, we continue to expand our Narcan training for first responders and families, and if you've been reading the Poughkeepsie Journal, you know, well, any local newspaper, but the Poughkeepsie Journal recently, you know that there have been 2 incidents of law enforcement administering Narcan and saving lives, and for that we're grateful. The 2015 county budget includes over $6 million in prevention and treatment. Additionally, we're seeking, in partnership with our federal and state representatives, additional resources to help us respond to drug abuse and to enhance our drug prevention efforts. Now, in 2014, we partnered with the Department of Health, the Department of Mental Hygiene, and of course CAPE to host or participate in over 20 informational forums around the county. And I'm proud to say that on April the 9th, we will host an additional forum at Red Hook High School in the town of Red Hook, and there will be more of these to come. Now, additionally, there is little question that we have a responsibility to address issues of mental health. And what we have been doing over the course of the last several years is really transforming the way in which we provide mental health services. Last year, we launched our Suicide Prevention app, a tool that you can use on a mobile handheld device to get important information and also to access important help. Again, our Narcan training, very important and effective. And we expanded the Dutchess County Helpline, our 24/7 resource, to include texting services. And in fact, since its inception, the helpline has interacted, or at least hosted or participated in 3,600 text conversations. And having that tool is exceptionally important. We also did something that I think the national government should pay attention to. When we expanded our school resource officer program with the Sheriff's Office, we required that schools welcoming our SROs into their buildings include mental health services, and we provide those as part of the SRO program so that we're on campus and assisting school districts and families and individuals. Now, at the same time, our focus has been to elevate mental health service delivery. We are confronting both the abandonment at the state level of psych centers and the demand that has placed on county government. So we've been engaged in elevating and integrating mental health into all that we do. And in fact, we are in the process of completing the merger of the Departments of Health and Mental Hygiene. And this year, we'll begin moving forward with the new Department of Behavioral and Community Health. The focus will be, as I mentioned, to elevate mental health service and integrate the delivery of service into community health under the leadership of one commissioner. Now, this is an ongoing process. that we are very excited about, but we believe that it is a smarter approach. It may even be a smaller approach, but we definitely believe it is a more effective approach to delivering mental health and community health services. And I'd like to extend our thanks to the Department of Mental Hygiene and Department of Health transition team who has been doing a great deal of work so that we can ensure that this department, this new department, begins in earnest later this year under the leadership of a single commissioner. Now, what I do want you to know is that we are committed to the delivery of mental health services. As I mentioned, we have been engaged in really a transformation of those services since the closure of psych centers. We have had new demand. Those in law enforcement certainly know it, but those of us as a community understand that those are great and important challenges. The 2015 budget includes no reduction in mental health service. I say this because it's critically important. We had a very large infrastructure, mostly to respond to the state's psych centers that were here in Dutchess County. And that cost burden was great on Dutchess County and Dutchess County taxpayers. So we've been engaged in transforming it and changing it, and the 2015 budget includes no reduction in mental health service. Since 2013, however, what I think is important is that the total appropriation for mental health services have actually increased. But because of the way in which we've focused attention, the cost to county taxpayers is down. The total appropriation for mental health services up, and the cost to Dutchess County taxpayers down by over $4 million. The only way that we could do this, the only way that we could provide the necessary savings to property taxpayers, to taxpayers and residents, while at the same time sustaining those services, is because we had partners in Albany. They understood that it was necessary for us to sustain and enhance and improve mental health delivery without creating additional burden. So we would not get here, total investment up, county costs down, were it not for their support and leadership. And I'd like to thank Assemblywoman Dee Dee Barrett for leading that charge on our behalf. It is true. It is true. It is because of her efforts that this county was able to overcome great challenge and great fiscal strife, and at the same time change the way in which we deliver service. And we're grateful to Assemblywoman Barrett and now Senator Sue Serino for their commitment to assist us in the years ahead. So Dee Dee, thank you, and those representing Senator Serino, thank you as well. Wow. Two different elected officials, two different political parties working together. We are grateful in Dutchess. It's a great example. In 2012, in order to respond and focus on prevention, intervention, and diversion, this new model, we launched our mobile crisis intervention team. This team of individuals, professionals, multidisciplinary team has been responding and has responded to over 9,500 specific incidents. They've been doing wonderful work. They are exceptionally important. And again, because of a partnership with Mid-Hudson Regional Hospital, this year, 2015, I'm very happy to announce that we will expand the mobile crisis intervention team 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's through that partnership with Mid-Hudson Regional, and I'd like to thank, I think there's a few representatives here, thank you for your participation and partnership. We continue to talk about this problem because it's an ongoing problem. Dutchess County is confronting what has been this inmate housing crisis for a number of years. In fact, before I started in the county legislature, we were housing out more inmates than we had jail cells for. That is a long time ago. We have a numbers problem. Dutchess County houses out over 250 inmates a day. We have a total of just over 500 inmates in our care. That is not out of the national average. It's not like there's some explosion of inmate numbers. We have 500 inmates and only about 250 cells or beds for them. Housing out costs Dutchess County taxpayers just over $8 million. It is a burden and a problem that must be confronted, and we have sort of a two-prong approach. We have a short-term solution. Thanks to a relationship we've crafted with the state's Commission on Correction, this is our short-term solution. We have secured the authorization, and we are finalizing the construction of temporary housing units at the current jail facility. They will be completed within the next couple of weeks. We're engaged in a systemic review of the way in which the criminal justice system works. The temporary housing units and having our inmates back home will help us to streamline and enhance the criminal justice process. We hope improving efficiency and driving down the length of stay. By having inmates back in Dutchess County, it's possible for us to provide much-needed services with a focus on driving down recidivism. And this, for us, these temporary housing units relieve a logistical paralysis. We are logistically paralyzed. Why? Every single day, the Department of Corrections within the Sheriff's Office is required to identify where we're going to move 250-plus inmates to any number of counties across the state of New York. It is total paralysis, where individuals are treated more like revenue to other communities than human beings, keeping in mind that these individuals are in our care until they are found innocent or guilty in many cases, in most cases. It is our responsibility to bring them back. And by bringing them back to Dutchess County, we not only ensure that we can assist in driving down recidivism, the goal of re-entering the community so that they don't recommit a crime, but at the same time we end the liability and risk of having corrections officers drive across the state of New York. You don't know this, because our corrections officers do a tireless job and they sacrifice a lot. They do it behind the scenes. They don't get the glory that a lot of people get. But every day they are moving inmates back and forth throughout the state of New York at the direction of the state of New York at great risk and great liability to themselves and Dutchess County. By bringing them home, we eliminate that. We relieve ourselves of that particular burden, and at the same time enhance the ability to help the individual who is severed when they're in other counties from family. The most effective alternative to incarceration: interaction with one's family, interaction with the clergy, interaction with service providers. They can't do that if they're in Rensselaer, if they're in Washington County, if they're in Albany County. And our goal, and thankfully through the temporary housing units, we're able to bring them back home. And by the way, provide Dutchess County taxpayers an annual $1 million savings. And that is much needed and very important. Now, a long-term solution is the construction of new capacity. But let us remind ourselves that we are here because we have an obligation to have a county jail. It is a mandate from Albany that we have a jail facility. That is what they tell us. And they want us to have greater capacity. It's obvious why, but through that mandate from upstate, we are focused on an appropriate response for Dutchess and developing a long-term solution. The creation of a Justice and Transition Center. This project, led by a diverse team of professionals that we've brought together to assess the needs of county government, of Dutchess County, both currently in the system and what we project into the future. A thorough analysis of our criminal justice system focused on reviewing special populations, review of the entire process from arrest to incarceration to reentry, and as we move forward with the development of a final long-term solution, which will include the demolishment, the end of a good amount of what is an inefficient jail facility. It has to come down. And we have to build a more efficient jail facility because it will drive down cost, enhance our ability to drive down recidivism, and at the same time could be a better neighbor in the city of Poughkeepsie and a much better facility in the neighborhood. Now, we're doing this in the context of the city's walkway zoning districts, so that we're very sensitive to the community and the stakeholders in the city. And we've engaged in a very aggressive outreach effort, our external advisory group, working to interact with the public. And I, too, want to acknowledge the transition team, the folks working on our Justice and Transition Center, the folks working on the county's Criminal Justice Council, and all those who've been working with us to finally bring about a solution. Would you join me in just a nice round of applause for all those folks? They're working very hard to accomplish this. Now, our process is unlike any other in the state of New York, and I, even though I'm so youthful, I have been around for a while. I am not aware of a single county that's doing it this way. Most build additions to jails, to build additions to jails, to build additions to jails. We do not think that that is the right approach. We are engaged in an effort to include stakeholders. It's an open process, ensuring that you can have your questions answered, and we're listening. We're committed to a comprehensive and holistic solution that adds or expands programs and alternatives to incarceration, that drives down recidivism and provides taxpayer savings. And it's all because we have more inmates than we have space. But the real question for us is, what if we can keep a person from going to jail in the first place? And I'd like our friends in Bexar County to answer that for you.
Jails are the #1 mental health facilities across the country. They house more mentally ill person versus any hospital, any psych facilities, anything. They're patients, not prisoners.
We decided very early on that we needed to address folks that were nonviolent misdemeanor offenders that were truly being put in jail because of their illness. We knew that it was law enforcement that were first responders and that they would be the ones that would be in contact with individuals in crisis.
So we decided what we would do first is train law enforcement officers in the 40-hour crisis intervention training. So they're trained to recognize mental illness.
Before I went through the 40-hour CIT training myself, I didn't have the resources on how to handle mental illness. Well, now it's way different. You know, I have confidence that when I go into someone's home, if they are experiencing some type of, mental health crisis, that I can get them to the right facility, and then I may never hear from them again.
We want everyone trained because of the potential daily that someone's going to come across someone who's in crisis. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how soon.
Our law enforcement officials know this scenario far too well. And just as I mentioned regarding how we might think differently in dealing with those with special needs, the truth of the matter is we have to think differently in how we deal with those with mental illness that present themselves in the criminal justice system. So Dutchess County is engaged in a comprehensive effort, and tonight I'd like to explain what we're going to do next. We learned from Leon Evans, who created the Restoration Center in San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas, that the critical next step is training, as you just saw. So we're engaged in developing this Bexar County model for law enforcement. I met with the Dutchess County Police Chiefs Association earlier today. Dutchess County will pay and establish a comprehensive training program for all of our law enforcement. We will begin by ensuring that those who respond to incidents on the road, those who respond to individuals on the streets, have the necessary training. We will pay for that. We will pay for the training program, and we will also pay to train trainers so that our staff and our people are prepared to do that. And that law enforcement responding is prepared to handle those with mental health concerns and disabilities. Beyond that, we will work with the police chiefs of Dutchess County, with the Sheriff's Office, to ensure that our police academy includes the crisis intervention training, so that as new officers enter into service, they're prepared. We will also work with law enforcement over the course of the next 2 years to ensure that 100% of Dutchess County's law enforcement responders are trained in crisis intervention training. As far as I know, there is not that model nor that goal anywhere in America, and we're going to do it here in Dutchess County. It is critical. It is critical. Now, the cost, there is a cost certainly to local law enforcement and communities in order to make sure their staff, their officers have the training that they need. Dutchess County will allow and enable municipalities who want to participate, and we had unanimous support from the Police Chiefs Association today. We will enable agencies who wish to apply through our Shared Services and Government Consolidation Grant Program to qualify for a percentage of their costs. So the county will also begin to offset the cost for individual law enforcement and police departments. We think that this is very, very critical. But at the same time, in order to de-escalate a situation and divert an individual from a jail setting, you need a place to do that. You need to have a place to bring those diverted from jail. So, thanks to a little effort that we've asked Steve Michio of People Inc. to lead, it's a very, very low threshold of expectations, so please don't screw it up. Dutchess County will build a restoration center. We are in the process of moving forward with recovery or restoration center, a place where law enforcement can bring those presenting themselves with mental health concerns, developmental disabilities, addiction. They can detox, where they can get the service necessary so that we can divert them from jail. Here's an interesting bit of information. Bexar County, Texas, a little different than ours. They had 3,800 inmates, but they had a jail of 3,000 beds. After implementing these steps, they are down to 2,000 inmates with that number of beds. So we know that we can enhance the system, drive down cost, divert individuals from jail, streamline the process, and reduce cost. So we will build a restoration center. We've identified our current Department of Mental Hygiene on North Road as the location, and we will open the center later this year. We will do this in coordination with our long-term Justice and Transition Center project, but we'll do it ahead of the Justice and Transition Center project. We'll seek to integrate and coordinate helpline, the mobile crisis team, and partial hospital programs on site. And we'll partner not only with folks like Steve at People Inc., but also the Mid-Hudson Regional Hospital to ensure that the services are available and we can begin an aggressive process to divert individuals from jail. Now, the bottom line for us is that we have got to confront this problem, this inmate housing issue, smartly, and I believe that we are. Our focus is to enhance the criminal justice system, one that seeks to reduce recidivism. We will assist those with mental illness so that we treat them, those who can be treated as patients ought to be treated as patients. And we seek to improve public safety, the safety of our officers and the safety of our public. And at the same time, we will engage in this effort knowing that we can reduce the burden to taxpayers and that a more efficient, more effective jail will provide taxpayer savings, and that is our goal. At the same time, we have an obligation to grow the economy. There's no question that we're swimming against the tide, if you will. The state of New York, one of the least business-friendly in the country. But we know that through an aggressive new economic development approach, we can make an impact. Now, we began several years ago with the development of an economic development strategy, and just a month ago, I announced our next steps. We will move forward with the dissolution of the Dutchess County Economic Development Corporation. And move their responsibilities and reorganize those responsibilities into the Dutchess County Industrial Development Agency, consolidation of the two. We will establish the Dutchess County Economic Development Advisory Council to engage local business leaders. And again, there's not a model like this in the region. Our goal is to get business leaders at the table, focused on helping this county grow and rebound and create private sector jobs. Government does not create private sector jobs. Businesses do, and by engaging those community leaders, we believe that we can have a measurable impact. Beyond that, the EDAC, the Advisory Council, will be responsible for advising us on every step in economic development, but also how we're doing within the strategy. It's one thing to have an economic development plan. It's an entirely different thing to determine whether or not you're succeeding. And our focus is to succeed because Dutchess County residents demand and deserve our attention to economic development. Now, the focus this year will be to expand our business retention, expansion, and attraction programs. The 2015 budget includes a $250,000 investment in a targeted marketing campaign to bring business back to vacant commercial and industrial space. This effort will be led by the Deputy Commissioner for Economic Development, Ron Hicks, and we are already starting to see some successes. And this, I think, is important for us. As you know, last year, the GAP announced a $96 million investment, 1,200 new jobs, largest job announcement in a decade. Additionally, manufacturing in this county continues to see some success. MPI Inc. is a world leader in investment casting systems. Their customers include Rolls-Royce, Hitachi, and Nestle, and they've been manufacturing and distributing from Poughkeepsie, New York, since 1972. Dorsey Metrology International is expanding their footprint in the city of Poughkeepsie. And James J. Taylor Manufacturing is doubling their square footage, in fact, doubled their square footage last year and expanded their operation, which has been in Dutchess County for over 100 years. Now, you also know that we have seen some significant stabilization in our economy. There's no question that the Global Foundries IBM relationship not only provided economic stability, and I know that because I have read the trades journals from around the world, and they've expressed this, but it also provided some stability for nearly 6,000 employees in Dutchess County who are uncertain about their future. So the relationship that's been established will give us a moment of economic stability, and at the same time, I am proud to say that Dutchess County is the home of the Z13 system mainframe. Every one of you, and I saw a couple of you, and I won't say who, John Penny, have already taken out your handheld device and you've been tweeting, you have been posting on Facebook, and I know that you said hashtag when will he stop talking, but you could not do that. You could not do that were it not for this. And it was built, it was developed here in Dutchess County in Poughkeepsie. A major investment, $5 billion investment made here in Dutchess County, the Z13 mainframe, and I suspect that there is more to come. Now, it would be appropriate for us to acknowledge a number of other employers who represent a major impact in our community, starting right here at the Culinary Institute of America. Would you join me again in acknowledging and thanking the men and women who helped put all of this together? We're thankful to the folks. We said I'm likely to move out from the podium, and they started to shake a little bit, but so far so good. If I wasn't at all entertaining, they were going to turn the mic off, but don't encourage them to do that. But we're very, very grateful to the Culinary. But Dutchess County has a great network of institutes of higher learning. The CIA, of course, Vassar College, Bard College in Northern Dutchess, Marist College right down the road, and of course our own Dutchess Community Colleges. And I don't know if Dutchess Community College, and I don't know if you know this, but the collective economic impact of our colleges in this community is more than $1.5 billion a year. Major employers, major investment in Dutchess County, and they are all on the move. One person who had to move, and we're grateful she did, and I'd like to acknowledge her tonight, is just a phenomenal addition to the Dutchess Community College community and to Dutchess County as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, would you join me in welcoming the new president of Dutchess Community College, Dr. Pamela Eddington, who's here with us tonight. Thank you, Pamela. She has just, to use a term, she's been transforming Dutchess Community College in just the few months that she's been with us. And many of our other colleges are investing in the community as well. Vassar College's Integrated Science Center. This is an $85 million investment. Marist College's Science and Allied Health Center, $33 million investment. And the Marist College North Campus Housing Project, $108 million investment. And there are more projects on college campuses underway. And I'd like to, at this point, I know that Dr. Dennis Murray couldn't join us this evening, probably because, unlike someone who I won't mention, who had a very long goodbye tour, Dr. Murray is just engaged in doing his job. But as many of you probably know, Dennis has announced his retirement later next year. But I want to acknowledge and ask Jeff Brackett, if you wouldn't mind extending our thanks to Dr. Dennis Murray for his leadership of the college campus and Dutchess County, his investment in Dutchess County as a whole. Jeff, thank you, and please extend that to Dennis. We are on the move, and there are projects of great import throughout the county. In East Fishkill, a $20 million investment in a new sports dome complex. Silo Ridge in Eastern Dutchess, a $500 million investment, 1,000 construction jobs, 200 permanent jobs. Grassmere Farm in the town of Rhinebeck, $15 million investment as a new destination resort, spa, and restaurant. And we don't stop there, just the big projects. We're working in every village, city, and hamlet to strengthen our community centers. We partnered with Central Hudson in the creation of a Main Street grant program. We're already starting to see the fruits of that labor. As I mentioned, we are investing in infrastructure, and it's important we invest in infrastructure, and we're focused on mixed use. We need developments of all kinds, residential opportunities, commercial opportunities, retail, industrial, manufacturing, et cetera, and we're focused on doing all of that. And one such project that holds the greatest potential, I think, for our county is a world-class riverfront in the city of Poughkeepsie. It is time that we ensure the development of a transit-oriented development around the Poughkeepsie train station. This is the city that is our county seat. And there is little question that by harnessing the interest, the attention, and the majestic Hudson River, we can see great potential and great growth in the city. So we are grateful to the City Council for adopting the Waterfront Redevelopment Zoning Code so that we can now move forward with Metro North together to bring about a world-class riverfront in the city. And it is necessary. It's necessary because the investment here will transform not only the waterfront in Poughkeepsie, but it transform the county as a whole. And our goal will be to work with the city and whoever may be the next mayor to ensure that the communities and neighborhoods throughout the city are networked together, that we invest and ensure that the impact of that riverfront development affects and impacts all of the community of the city. And this kind of development is important because it focuses on what millennials are looking for, the next wave of development. You know, very few want a 2,500 square foot home on 2 acres of land. These young people want to live in a condominium or a townhouse, and they want to get on a train, and they want to go to New York City, and they want to travel the world. They think they're going to live in 5 capitals across the globe before they return home. And our goal, through a world-class riverfront and a dynamic community, is to capture their hearts and their minds, so when they come home to Dutchess. And under the leadership of Commissioner Owen Rafter, the Department of Planning and Development is changing our focus. We're not just going to plan things, we're going to plan and develop things and work to streamline the process so that developers don't have redundancies and duplicative agencies that go back and forth and add cost and time and challenge to bring about projects. If a community knows what it wants, has it in their code, and somebody develops a plan that fits within their zoning language, we ought to help make it happen. And the Department of Planning and Development is focused on doing that. We've got great successes in all of our communities, but we have more to do. And we have more to do at Dutchess County's airport. This is one of our economics development assets that is in desperate need of attention. Just as we began the turnaround of the Resource Recovery Agency, we are focused on making the Dutchess County Airport run like a business. You shouldn't have to subsidize what can be among the most impactful economic development assets in our community. So, we are in the final stages of reviewing and hopefully selecting a fixed-base operator to privatize airport operations. Late last year, the county legislature approved moving forward with the investment of water infrastructure at the airport. Already businesses asking, when's the water coming? We're interested. At the same time, the airport is a remarkable place for venues. If you weren't here last year to see the Wings of Freedom, the historic planes that visited our airport, the lines were people were lined up around the corner. Well, they're back in August of this year for a full weekend. You'll be able to experience that. And Dutchess County is partnering with Dutchess Community College to apply for Startup New York status, specifically to expand their aviation curriculum on the Dutchess County Airport campus and to attract maintenance facilities there. Now, I'm very happy and proud to announce that we are also looking at ways to drive down cost and make a measurable impact. We will proceed in a partnership brought together by NYSERDA, the state's agency for energy efficiency, and other projects to partner for the private installation of a 2-megawatt solar array at the Dutchess County Airport. This will provide Dutchess County a projected $2 to $3 million savings over the 20 years of the project. So not only are we focused on solar energy at the airport, where we'll drive down energy costs for the county, we are also this year launching Solarize Dutchess and Energize New York. Now, together, the effort is to promote solar energy installation countywide. We'll provide educational opportunities for local land use boards so that they can accommodate installation as part of land use development projects and approvals. And we will, through these programs, provide affordable options for businesses and residents for solar installation. Since 1999, Dutchess County's Partnership for Manageable Growth has preserved or protected over 3,300 acres of active farmland and open space. In 2015, the legislature recapitalized that fund with an additional $1 million. However, our focus, here's the key. The Partnership for Manageable Growth was meant to preserve open space and invest in infrastructure. The problem is we protected open space, but we didn't invest in any infrastructure. So the 2015 budget and focus is on infrastructure development and agricultural business. Sustain the industry of agriculture, and agriculture is, in Dutchess County, a big industry. It remains strong. Since 2007, just dragging this out, I'm telling you right now, the more you clap, the longer I stand here. I have been breathing, don't worry. Since 2007, there's been a 3% increase in farms in Dutchess County. This is a turning tide, if you will. And a 9% increase in market value of products sold here in Dutchess. In 2015, we will complete, and the legislature will be asked to adopt an updated agriculture protection plan, where we will expand assistance to the small business owners, our farmers in Dutchess County, through the creation of an agribusiness navigator, so that we can provide assistance. And as you know, Dutchess County is the home of the first standalone Taste New York facility out on the Taconic, connecting tourists and visitors with our agricultural industry. And tourists and visitors is a big market in Dutchess County. Tourism in our community represents a $500 million visitor spending impact. It is big business that generates over $28 million in sales tax revenue for all of us, for all of this community. We are in the third year of a very aggressive worldwide marketing campaign led by the new Dutchess Tourism Incorporated, and Mary Kay Verba, its executive or its director. Is Mary Kay? I think Mary Kay was supposed to be here today. So Mary Kay, you deserve a nice round of applause. Oh, she's sleeping. No. Let me tell you this. You know, Dutchess County has a great story to sell, and tourism is a big business for us. And in some ways, we are not only distinct, but in many ways also disarming. But why don't you take a look at this to know just a little bit more about the community we call home?
Growing up in East Fishkill, Dutchess County boy, I love living here, and every time I come home, you guys always make me feel welcome, and I love always coming back no matter where I go.
What I like most about Dutchess County is that it has so much history. There's also the views in the Hudson Valley and in Dutchess. They're incredible. Now we have the walkway over the Hudson that gives people an opportunity to literally walk across the Hudson River. If you like the outdoors here, you like history, you like walking, you like boating, I mean, there's so many things to do here.
Think about it for a moment. Tourism is a big business. What is it? What is tourism? Well, obviously it's celebrations and activities like the ones that you see. It's scheduling events that communities celebrate and people come together to visit. But tourism is more than that, isn't it? Tourism is who we are as a community. To our core, tourism is arts and science. It's education and good food. It's good restaurants and historic plains. It's historic sites and active farmland. It's our community, our individual centers, hamlets, villages, and cities. It's the people who work in the industry welcoming new faces and new families. And by the way, tourism is also us. It's our interaction with one another as a community. We learn more and more about ourselves, and we celebrate together what is great about Dutchess County and where we come from. Now, I get ridiculed a lot, not because I have a bobblehead of me, but I get ridiculed a lot by some of my friends in the legislature and some in my office, Bill O'Neill and others, for quoting Joe Panik more often than they think I should. Joe Panik is a John Jay High School graduate. Who played baseball in Dutchess County, including a few games at Dutchess Stadium. He plays for the San Francisco Giants and helped them to win the World Series. There are very few times that you can say out loud, Dutchess County, John Jay, World Series champion. But just as importantly, when somebody like Joe Panik tells young people that no matter where life takes you, remember who you are and where you came from. I grew up watching the San Francisco Giants with my granddad, and I can't tell you that I knew why until he told me. He never forgave New York for losing the Giants to California. And I watched those games sitting at his foot, not on his feet, next to his feet, watching those games. And it wasn't until 1986, when I was rooting for my Mets, that I realized what his experience was. It was the same experience that I'm sure he had when he was a kid, saying, someday I'm going to grow up to play in the majors. That's what I wanted, only I couldn't play baseball. So 1986, I'm on the floor watching the New York Mets, through some miracle, win the World Series, thinking, you know what, if Gary Carter told me to remember where I came from, I would probably pay attention. And then fast forward to 2012, and I become county executive. And I get to take my son Jack to Dutchess Stadium, where he gets to experience for the first time America's pastime. And he roots for his team. Now, through some other influence, Jack is a San Francisco Giants fan. So it came all full circle. And I got to watch my 5-year-old son sit at the foot of my bed and watch the San Francisco Giants and Dutchess County, John Jay Grad, Joe Panic win the World Series. And as a father, I felt for the very first time the inspiration that comes from a guy telling my son that he should know where he came from and who he is. Where did we come from? Where we came from. We came from economic difficulty. We came from fiscal stress. We have communities and families and individuals that have been struggling to make ends meet. Businesses trying to make payroll. Where we came from is a place where challenges were great. 60% increase in caseload, 70% increase in mental health caseload, 23% decrease in assessed valuation. The challenges were great, and we came from there. And where do we come from? We come from a place called Dutchess, a place with a rich history, with every opportunity and potential at our disposal. We come from a place called Dutchess, where business people are willing to give back, where volunteers sacrifice in order to ensure someone in need has help. We come from a place where we will stop to help someone in need, where we will give back even when we don't have it ourselves, where we will pause and think differently because there are young kids who deserve dignity and respect. We come from a place where elected officials of all backgrounds, all income levels, all experience, all parties attempt to work together. We come from a place where we have not been an embarrassment to those we serve, and we have sought to lift people up in service to one another. That's where we come from. And ladies and gentlemen, the state of Dutchess County is strong. It is ever changing, it is ever evolving, and it is ever moving forward. God bless you, and thank you for the opportunity to serve as county executive. You could have left mine for a mile. Thank you.